Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays. This is going to be part 2 of my Fritz Lang video collection, DVD and Blu-ray collection that I have of the master German filmmaker, German-American director, filmmaker, producer, writer, Fritz Lang. He's a legend in German cinema, the early part. Even if he was to stop making movies at the beginning of the Nazi takeover in Germany, and he didn't make any more movies, his silent movie career and his early talkie film career would have made him a legend there. But it doesn't stop there, thank God. He starts making talkies. The advent of sound, was coming in around 1928, 27, 28. So by 1929, pretty much, America had switched over to sound film. In Europe, they were doing the same, doing the same techniques, early sound, and everything, the microphone being stationary, the camera not moving too much because they have to keep up with the mic. This was before a lot of, inventions and technology of movie making had yet to take place. So, with the early sound movies in Germany, Fritz Lang really busts out the gate with a bona fide classic. I had talked about Metropolis being, one of the movies that made him a household name, right? Well, the next movie would really make him also famous. This is one of the most, probably if you search Fritz Lang on Google, either Metropolis or this movie would come up, M. This is the 1931 early sound classic starring Peter Lorre. This is Peter Lorre's first movie. What can I say about M? I mean, this was my first Fritz Lang movie I ever saw. Blew me away at a young age when I saw this. The camera movement, the sound, the cinematography, just the sets, the acting, oh man, the lighting, everything. It never lets up for a moment. He's such a good director of action and character and storyline. This is the Criterion Blu-ray. I've had this for a while. This was released in 2010, so it's about 10 years old. On this, M's available, and multi-companies have released it. I think Eureka has released a Blu-ray version of it. Kino, maybe, I don't know. It's on a lot of companies. It seems like it's out there. But this is a restored high definition transfer. It's got audio commentary by German film scholars Anton Kays and Eric Rechler. It's got a long lost English version of M from a nitrate print preserved by the British Film Institute, which is really cool. It's got a 50-minute conversation with Fritz Lang. It's got Claude Chabrol's M. La Manette, a short film inspired by M, plus video interview with Chabrol. It's got video interviews with the son of M producer, Seymour Nibbenelsel. I totally tore that name up, and I do apologize. It's got classroom audio tapes of mediator Paul Falkenberg discussing the film and history, set to clips from the movie. It also has a documentary on the physical history of M, from production to distribution to digital restoration. It also has a gallery of photos. What can I say? This thing is loaded with stuff on M, and this was my gateway to Fritz Lang, and man, was it such a good movie. Such a good movie of just crime, mystery, drama. It's just great acting all across the board. You know, if you've never seen a foreign language movie, you know it's got subtitles, of course, but I think this will turn you on to foreign language movies because it's like a movie that you can't help but watch. You know, you can't help but read the subtitles. I'm trying to get into the head of someone who's never watched a foreign language movie. But you know, man, it's just such a good movie. I can't even go into it. Peter Lorre's uh, he's a sinister killer, child killer that's just been taking over the streets of this little German town, and they're trying to find him. They do a setup of people set up all through the town, like the balloon salesman, the shopkeeper over here. They're all keeping an eye out for this guy, and they basically mark him with the letter M on his jacket to kind of trail him, to keep an eye on him so he's not lost in a sea of overcoats, walking through the town and stuff. So they're able to keep up with this guy, and it's kind of a race between the police department and the underworld criminals that are just aghast by this man. They want to get him and kill him, and the cops want to get him and take him off the streets, and they're both racing to get this guy. And what happens is, I don't want to give away what happens. It's so I've probably already given away too much, but man, this is such a good movie. If you had to get a sound movie by Fritz Lang, get M first. This is such a hard. Oh man, there's another. The next movie is also one of my favorites though, but M, you have to get M. Beyond classic. It's just beyond a classic movie. Just like Fritz, Metropolis, it's such a classic movie. But man, I love this one too. This would be his last German movie before he would come to America. This is 1933's The Testament of Dr. Mabuse. Now this would be his second film using the Dr. Mabuse character, and he's the mastermind killer. He's got like telekinetic powers. Oh man, this movie is so good. I love how it's photographed. It's just this gritty black and white, stark lighting. It opens up with a guy running to hide from some killers after him, and he's running like a little mouse hiding in this room, and it's just the filming of it is just breathtaking, really, to me. And it's just the cinematography, the acting, it's so good. The special effects are even really good too. For 1933, I'd have to say this is super cool. Super cool. This is one of my favorite Fritz Lang movies. It's one of my favorite movies, period. But up against M, oh man, they're just both. I can't decide on both of them. I would just have them both. They're both so good. I think this one is a little more underrated at times than M. But man, this is such a good movie. Such an influence on the movies to come. The spy movies. The like Cloak and Dagger type spies, stuff like that, spy movies and stuff like that in the future. It's such an influence on stuff, and it's done so well. And this is actually my very first Eureka Masters of Cinema Blu-ray I got. It's really even the whole reason I got a all region Blu-ray player, because this is region B, which won't play on your regular American Blu-ray player, so you have to have an all region player. Each country is split up into regions. America and Canada is region A. Europe is mostly region B and some C. You know, like the Far East would be CD, you know, stuff like that. It's in regions and it's locked, region locked. So if I try to play this on a normal Blu-ray player, it won't play. So you have to have an all-region player. But this was really one of the movies that it's like, I want to see this movie. I have to have this edition. It's so cool. I mean, it's a dual disc. It's got this awesome booklet. It comes with it. The artwork on this, it's got a let's see, was it a feature-length audio commentary, 32-page booklet. I thought there was a little bit more on here though, but at 122 minutes, it's a basic 2-hour movie. It's another one of Fritz Lang doesn't let off the gas for a minute, man. He's got it floored all the way through it. It never lets up for a second. It's exciting. It's just, man, it will overwhelm your senses, your eyes, your just, wow. I mean, it blew me away, you know. But I love this movie. Was it the Testament of Dr Mabuse, where he's put in an insane asylum, and he's locked away, and then the police and everybody are like, oh man, we got him, cool. But then all these crimes start happening again. So from his padded cell, locked away in this insane asylum, he's committing crimes still, because he's like moving into the bodies of other people to do these things. Or it's fascinating. It's really, it blow you away. But yeah, you have to get this movie. I highly recommend that. I could probably sit here and just gush about it for hours. But so 1933, Adolf Hitler takes over Germany. The Nazis are they come to power, I'm sorry, and they're taking over all aspects of German life, media, the radio, everything. So now Germany's taking over the movies and stuff, and they're like, well, this is propaganda. We're going to burn this film. We're going to do this. We want you to work for us. They come to Fritz Lang personally and say, we love your movies. Or Adolf Hitler loves a certain movie by Fritz Lang, and he wants you to make films for us, you know, which would be propaganda bullcrap for the Nazi party. So he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, let me think about that, guys. I'll get back to you tomorrow. And he walks out of there like, oh my God. So he goes back home. He gets... This is a story he told everyone back in, I think, the 1950s or something. He told this story. I think it's on YouTube if you search it up. But he tells the story of how he went home. He basically grabbed all the money, clothes he could get and carry. He went to the bank. He cleared out his bank account. He basically took a train, I think, to Paris. And from there, he went to London for a while, and then he made his way to America. You know, made some connections and stuff, and he was making movies. I'm trying to think if his first movie was in maybe 1935 over here or something. So, anyways, like let's just say a year or so goes by, and he's in Hollywood now. He got away from the Germans, and He made a couple movies, but where I pick up with his movies is 1936. Now, this was a movie I saw a long time ago, man, on TV. Every time this was on TV, I would watch it. I couldn't help but watch it. I think, yeah, this is for MGM. So in 1936, he goes to MGM. He makes a movie called Fury. Not to be confused with the Brad Pitt 2014-15 tank drama Fury. This is Fury with Sylvia Sidney and Spencer Tracy. Now, you might recognize Sylvia Sidney. She's a woman on Beetlejuice when Beetlejuice goes to that, other world, and she's the one that you know, the woman smoking cigarettes, and I think her throat is open or something like that. But that's Sylvia Sidney. That's her right here. And it's so awesome to watch her in these movies and see her so young. And she's really a beautiful actress. And she always does really super cool characters and stuff. But yeah, she's in this, and I love her in this. And Spencer Tracy, this is one of his, you know, first movies. You know, he hadn't been making movies for that long, and he's excellent in this movie. This is you know, a wronged man gets basically killed. It's the whole let's hang him kind of dramas. It's a very, I mean, it's a powerful movie still to this day. In 1936 movie is still this powerful. Let me read it briefly, so I don't tear it all up. Joe Wilson, played by Spencer Tracy, is a wrongly jailed man thought to have died in a blaze that will start, the jail, in a jail fire that was started by a bloodthirsty lynch mob. Now somehow he's still alive. He gets back to his brothers, and he gets back to them, and he aims to ensure his would-be executioners meet the fate that he almost met. So he basically, Sylvia Sidney plays his bride-to-be, and she's trying to, bring justice for him and try to clear his name and all this stuff. But after this, all Spencer Tracy can think about is revenge. I'm going to make all these people pay that, tried to kill me in the jail and tried to lynch me and try to do all this. And I'm going to make them all pay. So his character goes from being this really nice guy, down to earth, really good man, to this completely out for blood, bloodthirsty, revenge guy, where he's just mean now. He's just mean. He's not the same to his girl even. His brothers, were like, turn yourself in, all this, man. It's such a good movie. But yeah, it's one of, Fritz Lang's first sound movies in America, one of his first American movies, and man, it packs a wallop, but it's still not on the same lines of like Dr. Mabuse or M in Germany, where he had such control and had bigger production values and all this stuff. Now he's working for MGM. He's kind of I don't think he ever became a contract director. I think he was still kind of a, freelance director. But he would work for them, off and on, different years and stuff. I'm trying to think here. This was produced by Joseph Mankiewicz, screenplay by Bartlett Cormack and Fritz Lang. So he kind of worked on the story. But yeah, it's got a young Walter Brennan in it, which is really cool. Walter Abel. But yeah, the cast is great. Sylvia Sidney and Spencer Tracy is great. I highly recommend that. That's something that you see on TV a lot. Next up, I got this is I believe a Korean copy of Fritz Lang's 1937 movie, You Only Live Once. And this also stars Sylvia Sidney and a young Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda hadn't been in the movie business for very long. He made his way up to starring roles, and he's still kind of wet behind the ears. He's still young, This is Henry Fonda, and again, Sylvia Sidney is just awesome in this movie. She is such a good actress. I mean, she even worked with Alfred Hitchcock on a few movies over in England. So what did she work on? Was it Blackmail? She worked on a couple of pictures for Hitchcock. Man, she was so good in those two. She is so underrated as an actress. It's funny that, people may only know her from Beetlejuice. It's funny. But yeah, this is basically two lovers running for their lives. They get in a situation where it's kind of a Bonnie and Clyde type of thing, where they're out on the lam. They were two young lovers. They start out, and a bunch of stuff happens to them, and it's in the same vein as Fury, sorta, but it's got the performance really stand out on this. The performances, like I said, Henry Fonda, Sylvie Sidney's so good in this movie. Direction, again, sharp, fast-paced direction, really good. But yeah, this would be one of the early movies produced by Walter Ranger. And I'm trying to think who else was in this. There's a young Margaret Hamilton and Barton McLean round out some of the cast members on that, which is really cool. So I'm going to move up. My 30s output in Hollywood for Fritz Lang is kind of spotty and stuff. I think he works. Did he work with her again? I'm trying to think. No. Well, anyways, the next movie I got now, this one is from 1940, and this is from Twilight Time. The really cool label that went out of business last year. This is the Return of Frank James. This is from 1940. It stars Henry Fonda, and he's playing the brother of Jesse James. The previous year, in 1939, I think it was Henry Hathaway who directed it. I might be wrong on that, but there was a movie, Jesse James. It was a big hit with Henry Fonda and gosh, I always forget his name. Why do I always forget his name? Oh man. But anyways, his brother was Jesse James. It was a big movie, big hit. So this is the return of Frank James. So Frank James is out there. He started his own life. He's got a little farm. He gets brought back into this life. He's still a wanted man, but he kind of went way off and started his own little place. He's got a farm, and he's got, like a nephew or somebody that lives with him. And he gets brought back into the action again of stuff, and trying to avenge his brother and everything. And it's really cool. It's super. I'm trying to think. Yeah, this is color. Yeah, it's one of those early Technicolor movies, and 20th Century Fox was really good about that. They had a pretty good Technicolor staff back then, I guess, and so this was a big 1940 Technicolor movie, which is really good. Solid direction. Of course, this time Fritz Lang is having to work with producer Daryl F. Zanuck. He's having to take some of the control away from him to let people like Daryl F. Zanuck take over and call the shots a little bit and say what he wants. And Fritz Lang, Fritz Lang was used to being his own man. He was looked as a king in the film industry in Germany. He wrote, produced, directed, did camera work even at times. He was in charge of everything in a way. But now he's in America, so he's having to he's having to give and take a little bit with producers now and do stuff that, he didn't want. He probably wouldn't have done it that way, but now he's in Hollywood, and Hollywood is, calling the shots, different people now. So it's a good movie, but, I wonder about it if it was just a Fritz Lang movie, and he was calling the shots, and it was an independent release. I wonder what it would be like. But it's got a good cast. It's got it's got Jackie Cooper now. He's grown up a little bit. It's got Henry Hall, John Carradine. Great cast of feature players, other, what do you call it, background actors. It's got pretty cool stuff. So I highly recommend this. This release on Twilight Time looks really good. I'm trying to see. I'm not sure if it has anything extra on here. I don't think it has anything extra. But looks really good. It's a very nice. The sound's good. Twilight Time they really do put out some really nice stuff. So, and they're out of business now, so everything's out of print. So everything's going up in price in the collector's market. So if you somehow or another run across a Twilight Time Blu-ray in a store, secondhand, a yard sale, garage sale or something, buy it because they're going up in price. Anyways, still at 20th Century Fox, this would be I'm trying to think, what is this, 1941. Fritz Lang is still at 20th Century Fox, and this is the next movie he would do would be a big Technicolor Western by writer Zane Grey. This would be Western Union, which is a really good movie. Super cool movie. I also have this on Blu-ray, but this is the DVD version of it. I first came across this because Randolph Scott's in it. It's one of his movies, one of his early 40s movies. And man, this is a great movie. It's another beautiful Technicolor movie. It's got a young Robert Young, Randolph Scott, Dean Jagger, Virginia Gilmore, and John Carradine's back in it. And this was produced by one of the associate producers, or Harry Joe Brown, which he would play a key part in Randolph Scott later on in his career, doing some of his best work when he would team up with Harry Joe Brown. But that's a side note. That's with Randolph Scott, not Fritz Lang. But anyways, Bart McLean is back, Chill Wills. It's got a great cast. This is such a good movie. Such a great Western. It's one of those classic Westerns. But man, it's great. I would get the Blu-ray. There's a really good Blu-ray. I believe it is on, what do you call it, Kino. I think there's a Kino release on Blu-ray that, man, you got to get that one. That one looks good. But man, this is a great movie. It's a solid A+ Western. Has all the everything you need to have a cool Western. It's so cool. Top-notch direction and everything. So there you go, guys. We have moved up from the end of Germany to the early days, the first Hollywood movies, and now he's come to a point in Hollywood where he's been doing some Hollywood movies now for half a decade or so. He's kind of put his name out there again in Hollywood, so he's establishing himself. And we'll go further into Fritz Lang in part 3. I hope you guys will watch that. And I hope you guys like this episode. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel. And stay tuned for part 3. And I hope you guys will watch it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.